Many people have this notion that the Republican Party is predominantly white because Republicans supposedly only want whites in the party. It's not true. I am going to give you a prime example of why there aren't as many non-whites in the party.
I mean, California Republicans, I just showed you, are 30% of registration in the states because they're really stupid. And racist, but... Republicans are 82% white. You want to know why this is what Jason wanted me to talk about. You want to know why they're taking the shorts in California. Republicans are 82% white.
You should see the convention.
Republican Party of California, as I say all the time, on the record, in print, and on radio, and on TV, is the last vestige of any real white people. And that's what this is.
Liberals express this false outrage as so-called Republican racism. However, when it's shown that whites aren't the only ethnicity in the party, the true outrage of liberals comes out and they call those not of the white ethnicity sellouts. And you have legions of teachers like this impressing upon students that the Republican Party is why many blacks, Hispanics, etc. don't approach the Republican Party. But the truth is, it's not because we don't welcome them, but rather because of the vast influences of guys like this promoting prejudice against us. I say again, it's not Republicans trying to keep people of color out. It's liberals trying to keep people of color from going in.
I think what's happening. Propaganda.
Earlier in April, a story came out about a USC student named Tyler Talgo, who exposed the hate-filled lectures of his so-called poli-sci professor, Darius Srago. I heard something about it, but I've talked so much about the liberal influence from school to entertainment, it didn't really register with me. Because I'm talking about this stuff all the time as it is. Thus, I'm guilty of getting to this kind of late. But I'm prompted to visit this for a couple of reasons. I just had a speaking engagement at USC and had the pleasure of meeting with their college Republicans group. You know, that group that has those white-only signs. Oh wait, that was the Democrats that made segregation legal. Anyway, I was talking with some of the college Republican students, one of whom was irate over what was recorded, but not at the professor, mind you, but at Tyler Talgo, and even accused him of being a mole. I'm like, mole? What you mean mole?
Mole.
It sounded more to me like the one who was the mole was the accusing student. He even went as far as to say he wanted to kick Tyler's ass for recording the professor without the professor's knowledge. You think the tenured professor would have cared either way? I reckon Tyler did it the way that he did it because announcing that I'm going to tape you would have been a distraction to the class. So with minimal interruption, he recorded the lecture, thereby showing more respect to the class than the professor obviously does. Now, the issue has become a distraction anyway, I'm sure, but the professor needed to learn the lesson that he's not above consequences. So, since this student has desires to dig his foot into the behind of Tyler Talgo, I had to ask him, then, does that mean you want to kick my ass too? Because I recorded a college professor also. My wife was in the hospital and I sat in her accounting class to record the lectures for her. Here's some of what I got.
All right, number one on the disadvantage list, double taxation of earnings. And they are now talking about eliminating this particular disadvantage, our friend, the cowboy in Washington, the man with his finger on the bomb, that guy. After George Bush #1 was summarily thrown out of office in 1992, he started going on the lecture circuit. He went to Japan to make a speech. They gave him shares of the company for his speech. During the technology run-up, he made $14 million on those shares. A lot more than the value of his stupid speech.
Bashing right from the get-go. So obviously, this is routine for him, as it is with too many of these liberal teachers and professors. So I'm listening to this wild-eyed student who claims to be a Republican and sounding more liberal by the second. And he's cursing and escalating his voice, calling people like Michelle Bachmann and Alan West or Palin nuts. I see Alan West almost every day, y'all. I've yet to see him come across as nuts. Like all of a sudden he has a major pain flashback and looks at me all sketchy-eyed saying, "You plotting on me, boy? I'll crack your skull like a chubby woman sitting on a pecan." I've not seen this nuttery in Allen West, but within a few minutes of anybody I've seen who calls people like Palin, Bachman, or Allen West nuts, they're usually the ones coming across as foul-mouthed, hot-headed, or hot air-blowing nuts themselves. I'm not trying to pick on this guy, but he's illustrated to the effect that his mindset represents too many in the Republican Party who think we need to become more moderate. But the end result doesn't add up. It cancels itself out. It contradicts itself. And then there's the denial. For example, I'm listening to this student who wants to fight you, Tyler. I'm all instigating and junk. We're gonna put this on pay-per-view. I'm playing. I don't want y'all to fight. The lesson here is don't call people nuts while acting like one. Now, while saying that the Republican Party needs to become more moderate, he also rejects the report that liberal professors give lower grades to students who express their conservative leanings in dialogue or handed in assignments. He rejects that it negatively affects their grades because he gets A's in his classes when he dialogues with his professors from a conservative point of view, and he gets A's on his papers when he expresses his conservative stance on them. He says you just have to stand up to these teachers with your conservative values and not be some coward and a bitch with a hidden camera to do it. This is the language that he's using, right? So I'm like thinking two things. First, what happened to being more moderate? I'm not hearing you say that you're having success in your classes by standing on strong, moderate views. I'm hearing you say that you're excelling in your classes by standing on conservative views. If that's the case, why don't we get moving with the conservative route and knock it off with this moderate nonsense? You're making my point. The second thing I thought was, did you ever think that the reason that you're getting such high marks from your liberal professors is because you're probably not the conservative you think you are? Your professors are most likely thinking, oh, how cute. You think you're a Republican. We can use you, along with the others who think they're the answer to the Republican Party too, while destroying it from the inside out. Newsflash, he's a professor. You're a student. And even though he's a liberal, he's smarter than you in ways of being a master manipulator. And he's got you. You're being groomed right there in his classroom to be his favorite kind of Republican, a mole who doesn't even know he's one.
Mole.
Liberal professors have been doing this long before you were born. And I know with your young, energetic intellect, there's no way that this old dude is getting over on you. You don't even know what hit you. You're being encouraged to live in the illusion that you're a conservative, and with that disguise, tell people that we should be more moderate, which ultimately means become more liberal. I taught self-defense at college, y'all. I've seen students come in with their minds filled with liberal nonsense, like being all impressed because the teacher made them watch Super Size Me, and now they're ready to take down McDonald's drunk with self-righteousness. And I have to sober them up and ask them, who do you know that eats McDonald's 3 times a day, every day? And if you do know someone like that, are they in the hospital? Nobody, right? Thank you. Now, after class, be sure to go get you a quarter pounder with cheese value meal with a Happy Meal on the side, get you a good workout later, and you'll be cool. Anyway, liberalism, y'all. You know it infects Republicans too. And one of the symptoms is the desire to be more moderate and infect other people with it, like a bite from a zombie. I'm AlfonZo Rachel with Zo Nation, and students like Tyler Talgo are heroes in my book. I'll crack your skull like a chubby woman sitting on a pecan.